As you know, the Dream Arc is all about the intuition. It's all about learning to trust our deep instinctual knowing more and more in our lives. I cannot think of a time in my life, maybe even on this planet, when it's been more important for us humans to learn how to do just that. How to elegantly cut through the constant and conflicting barrage of fear-inducing information and polarizing pressures that we're being presented with on a daily basis in order to connect with a deeper source of truth and guidance. Now, since I'm somebody who's a big believer in the phrase, we teach what we most need to learn, it felt really important that I let my gentle, playful intuition, not my judging, critical mind, guide me throughout the creative process of illustrating the 192 animals in the Dream Arc Codex. One of the first intuitive hits that I received was to approach each of the realms, upper, middle, and lower realms, or keys, vision, life, and fear keys, uniquely. For each realm, I wanted to choose a modality that felt somehow connected to the shared essence of the realm, or that particular family of beings. For the creatures of the underworld or the fear keys, my intuition led me to choose charcoal on Tibetan rice paper. I used earth tones, orange, browns, reds, and blacks, which I realized over time allowed the drawings to look as if they had been created out of earth as well as onto earth. And I wanted the drawings to be and feel textured, but be simple, almost like original cave drawings. I wanted them to speak directly to our original nature. One challenging aspect of this hidden realm in relation to the creative process was the incredible diversity of the creatures that belong to it. In the underworld, we've got insects with 2 wings, insects with 8 legs, and creatures with no limbs at all. We've got fish and crabs and sharks and seahorses and plankton. We've got lizards and worms and snakes and slugs. Also, although many of these creatures live inside of and on the earth, many live in the sea, and many fly in the sky. Many of the underworld creatures in reality are incredibly colorful and luminous. It was in honor of this diversity and luminosity that I felt compelled to include white, because white light contains all wavelengths of visible light. It includes all of the colors of the rainbow. So even though the underworld creatures were created in earth tones, all of their colors are still shining through energetically, through the white. When it came time to do the birds, I felt called to use watercolor. The birds, or vision keys, in the Dream Arc bring messages to us from beyond. So it felt right to use a modality that was transparent, that allowed light and the sacred language of light to pour through it, almost like stained glass. The birds have the capacity to see through things. They can peer through water when they're in flight. They can see what's happening down in the valley from the peak of the mountaintop. They can bring vision down through the veil into our awareness. And sometimes we're not just dealing with one veil, we're dealing with layers upon layers of veils. This is certainly the case here on planet Earth these days. So for me, watercolor was the perfect medium for both showing the layers and inviting us to peer through them into the light of the matter, the light of the being, whether that being is ourselves or another or the world that we live in or the cosmos itself. When bringing through the life keys, or mammals, who belong to the middle world, the main intuitive message that I received was to create the mammals in a way that would allow me and you to feel instantly connected to them. I wanted them close up and personal. Eye contact felt super important because, as my daughter is constantly reminding me on a daily basis, we humans are mammals. And even though there are, of course, qualities that differentiate us humans from the mammalian king or queendom, we are a family. And it was this intimacy, this recognition of kinship, that held my hand through the process of bringing the middle worlders through. To my great surprise, I ended up experimenting with our family iPad. Kim introduced me to a program called Procreate, which I'd never used before and felt pretty intimidated by in the beginning, but I quickly came to appreciate how this modality allowed me to work in layers and to play. I could go forwards and backwards, I could zoom way in and out and try all sorts of things The modality was also so new to me that it let me stay connected to a feeling of freedom and to make lots of mistakes that turned into happy surprises, which is also one of the Dream Arc's greatest invitations to all of us. The more middle worlders I invited out, the more I realized just how important it was to me that they be easy to relate to, connect with, and they not be so mysterious. What mattered was the bonding potential between me and these beings, between you and these beings. And I was willing to risk making some of them a little bit too cute. And I've come to see that one of the great potentials of the middle world is to help us open our hearts. There's a reason why people are obsessed with YouTube videos of cats, dogs, and bunny rabbits. And while not all mammals are the cuddly sort, and some are fierce and awe-inspiring, I don't want to deny the fact that we can recognize ourselves in these beings, and that there is an incredible power in the looking into the eye of another being and feeling their innocence and our own innocence, and feeling that we're family, siblings, that we can love each other deeply and allow our hearts to melt in each other's presence. You may notice that I also added subtle symbols in the third eye of all of the mammals, each with its own meaning. These symbols, as well as so many of the symbols and little buttons that you're going to see sprinkled throughout the Dream Arc journey, were intuitively borrowed from another art project of mine called the 64 Faces of Awakening, or 64 Wisdom Keepers. You'll have the chance to get to know some of these wise beings when you come to the Unifiers module in your Dream Arc journey. But just to give you a bit of background here, this art project did not start out as an art project. It started out more like a meditative, intuitive, and deeply personal journey in my life back in 2015. And throughout that whole process, my deepest and evolving intention was to bring forth unique human faces as a means of reclaiming, reflecting, and celebrating the soul of the world, a miraculous multiplicity of one. I wanted this diverse family of wisdom keepers to unify us with our collective evolution and indigenous roots, to represent both ancient and new human archetypes, and embody the peace, love, and compassion so desperately needed in our world. Eventually, I was guided to join the 64 Faces of Awakening with the wisdom of Richard Rudd's amazing body of work, the Gene Keys, and to create an oracle deck called the Wisdom Keepers Oracle Deck. But what I want to share with you here is that each of these faces were infused with evocative shapes and universal symbols. And it's these symbols that you're going to find at the third eye of the Life Key mammals, as well as throughout the Dream Arc course. For the most part, these symbols have found their homes intuitively in the course, not so logically, so no need to look for direct correlations between the location of the symbols in the online course and the wisdom keepers. Just enjoy them for what they are and allow yourself to make your own meaning out of them. And if you do want to find out what each clickable symbol in the course means in terms of your own journey, we've got a glossary for you to explore. So there you go, a few words from me. And I hope you've enjoyed getting a little sense of my arts process and what it was like as I approached the creation of the 192 Dream Arc animals. And soon you're going to see so many amazing visual artists who have contributed beautiful work to our course, sharing their spectacular versions of these wonderful creatures and beyond. So you're really in for a treat.